I'd like to introduce Theo Dorgan to our company, who's going to talk about my new book, which is called the Hoopoe Collection. And I'm going to read a poem or two out of it after Theo. So a big hand for Theo, please.
One of the things I think that will save this country is neighbourhoods. You know, the papers are full of all kinds of abstractions about community and Ireland and all this, but in fact it all, seems to me, comes down to the local. And Kavanagh was right. He said, you know, if you can't do the local, you won't understand the universal. And so when I'm very conscious when I came to live in this area on a temporary residence permit, which is an extension of my Corkman's Dublin temporary residence permit. I was very conscious that Howth has been minded for a very long time by Michael Connaughton, in the sense that every part of the world needs a painter and a poet to mind it, to keep its spirit alive, to think about the place, to feel it, to understand it, to keep a sense of its history alive, and to give us a sense of what it is to be a particular person living in a particular place. And then, of course, as they began to serve me in local shops and pubs, and grudgingly at first, but they got used to the accent. I discovered, you know, there's a whole rake of writers around here. There's a wonderful Bayside Writers Group, for instance, which has been doing stalwart work for many years. And I don't think we've learned yet to be grateful enough to have poets and painters like Michael in our midst. Grateful because, if for nothing else, if you look around you at the walls here, you'll see that this is the first sign of summer I've seen in Baldoyle, Sutton or Howth all year. These things are packed full of life. And when you walk around in the day-to-day and you look out at the 4 seasons in a day that we get, you realise it takes a kind of a courage of the imagination to see through the grey fogs and the mists and to see these colours and these forms. And it doesn't happen by accident. It happens because Michael has the discipline and the gift to be still and to see these things and to make these things. And I always feel it as a gift. I feel when someone takes that trouble to make that work and give it out to us, I feel I've been given a gift. So I'm very grateful for the gift of the paintings, as, reading through this book, I've been grateful for the gift of these poems. I thought, to give you an idea of what I like so much about it, there's the borough Sutton. The last of the silent breakers have gone, nothing but jets and a faithful blackbird. The winter's dunes come like a sculptural wall hanging, are blown away. I regret not having used my imagination on them for their spirituality. And I walk the borough beach at least once a week, 2-3 times a week in the winter when all the people from Dublin have gone home and we get our beach back. And I won't walk those dunes again without thinking of Michael's poem and saying, you know, are you going by too fast? You know, maybe you are missing the spirituality, maybe you're missing the sense of place. So the poems aren't just, you know, beautiful things to read in themselves. They go into our lives and they change the way we look at things. There's another poem which I've encouraged Michael to read in a minute about on Balscadan, the ballast. And this one put the fear of God in me because of the casual way. He says, down at Balscadan beach, the swell of sea is too great for a winter's swim. Now, I'm in no hurry to get my first heart attack. But swimming in Balscadan in the winter would be an absolute cast-iron guarantee that I'd get a heart attack. And I was asking Michael, has he been swimming? Was he swimming today? And he said, no, it's too warm. So I won't go by Balscadan beach again without having a quick look down in the heart of winter when the snow is falling and the ice is on the roads to see is Michael Connaughton bobbing around down there, you know. So this is what I mean by minding the local place. It takes what we think we know and it puts it through the prism of an individual imagination and gives it back to us. And the great thing is he doesn't have to do this. This is why a second reason why it's a gift. To make paintings, to make poems, to put the paintings on the wall, to publish a book, is it's an act of generosity. It's a giving from the self. And it makes it so much the richer for all of us to live around here. And it has this other great benefit, is that when the book goes out into the world as it deserves, and as I hope it will, it tells other people that there is another local. Maybe it make them look and say, well, I understand Howth now, I understand Sutton, I understand all that area a little better, I can picture it, I can imagine it, and maybe they'll turn around and look at where they stand and see the magic that's hidden inside and that. That's why poets matter, that's why painters matter, is they are prompts to the imagination, like that. Michael has a poem which I must say I thought about a lot. Faith. It's the waves thinning into the sand, the murmur of lap washing the shore, the unguent seal reaching for a fish, the sunshine of an October day. I write not necessarily pure, but direct my hand and brain. I am nothing but standing, writing, waiting to flow with the tide. And I think that could be any poet. I mean, this place is coming down with poets. There are poets to the left of me and poets to the right of me. But that could be any of our mottos, to stand and to wait for the tide. Time immemorial, that's what writing has been about, standing, waiting for the tide, and then having the wit and the imagination to pick up your brush or your pen when the tide reaches you and to just do it. And we're here because time and time again, Michael stood and waited for the tide, and when the tide came in, pulled on the oars, he went with it. So it's a great occasion. The hoopoe in Mediterranean lore is a great bird of good omen, which is a great title, so it makes it an entirely appropriate image or an appropriate title for the book. I hope it'll fly. And on a very practical note, you can help but do so by availing of the opportunity to acquire a book for yourself. It's a lot closer to Christmas than you might think. You have the perfect present for anyone who lives in the area and say, here's where you really live. Michael painted it, Michael wrote it. So Michael, congratulations and good luck to the book.
I'll read the ballast, which is one that Theo relates to. The ballast. Down at Balscaddon Beach, the swell of sea is too great for a winter's swim. The diver cormorants are nearby, searching the depths for whiting. Down goes the nape in a complete circle, and up comes another. The rhythms are orchestrated by a well-fastened buoy to pull and thrust of the waves. Nearby, the thrust is impossible to fathom. Outgoing, the swell drags the stones and seaweeds to the deeps, and another breaker climbs in and draws the former wave out to sea. I was told I wouldn't have the strength to maneuver such as it is. A small gull paddles out near where I would have my swim, and Willie Wagtails swoop and dive to the seaweed's plot. Caves to the right are all flash, to the foam breaking on the rocks. Below the houses embedded along the top of the cliff face. The roar, rumble, and lift of water is very heavy, and the foam and spray incoming with the huge waves. It's not a day for a swim, maybe tomorrow. And seeing as I'm in a bit of a pensive mood, I'll read a small poem called Pensive. Dusk or dawn, I cannot tell, lights everywhere, ships at sea, pools of water, cold. Why, I didn't swim today, and the sun came out to the joy of the three bathers. Met Mary Rose O'Malley from Maitri Estate in Raheny. She said, I look within and see the Christ, his eyes and heart through mine. Thank you very much. So enjoy. The books are for sale here, and there's plenty of drink to go around if anybody wants a cup or a sup or whatever. Glad to have you all here. It's so nice to have an audience. Thank you.